I know you were. That's why I requested your help. You're reliable.
We'll let you in. I'm not really sure about that.
Slip in the back room.
Well, I was like, we'll let somebody come in if y'all want to come in. There's no reason for y'all to have your feet out like.
I didn't see
It's for the whole row and I'll hold that for you.
Yes. That's on her back.
Okay.
We knew you.
Yeah. And she said, yeah, but next time you see her, tell her I said
Ready? Yeah. Ready. Go. All right. You ready to start it? Okay. All right. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. And, it's only been a week since we had the special meeting we called to get everybody sworn in and pass resolutions so we get things started. And I'm going to try to hold the microphone closer tonight because people couldn't hear last time. I thought I was loud enough, but maybe not. So we're having this meeting because a lot of people's already had plans at what would be our regularly scheduled meeting of this month. And so this will take care of that. So next one will be the third Thursday in January. And so the next regular meeting. So let me go ahead and call the meeting to order. And we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, I need to do a roll call to be sure we can establish a quorum then. And actually, if y'all will just let me, I think I can just look and see everybody's here. And so we'll say that we have a full quorum and everybody is present. Now, we had the minutes from the meeting that John has given you from last time. And so I would just open to say if there's any questions or inputs, then we would have a motion to accept.
Motion to accept. A second.
Okay, any other discussions or questions on the minutes? Okay.
May I interject?
Yes.
I do have 3 or 4 copies extra here that if somebody wants a copy of them prior to us getting them posted someplace, you're more than welcome to stop and see me. If I run out, I'll be happy to get copies made for you if you give me your name and address. So.
Another clarification on that, obviously the minutes have to be posted. We're still working the website, so until we get that in place, we'll have a hard copy available. Okay, so minutes are approved. There are no ceremonies or recognitions to be made right now. Now we have a period here for public comments, and just to reiterate or remind everybody on that, we want to have a period at each meeting so that if people have questions, comments, they can make those, and as was in the resolution last week, and we'll be posting all this, of course, but we just ask that we get them at least 48 hours before the meeting so we have a chance to understand what the question is and look anything up we need to and be able to have as good an answer as we can provide. So with that in mind, we did have some entered. And so, Kathy Kent, do you want to state your question?
Sure.
Well, first of all, thank you all for serving and for taking my question. I reside at 122 Stonebriar Drive, and my question is, what will be the respective roles of the city and the POA, and how will they interface?
Okay, and so what I can tell you right now is that the POA, has been in existence for a long time. We know how that operates, and they own the clubhouse, they own the pool, they take care of the amenities and the fees for that. None of that changes. None of their responsibilities change. We do have, though, a city now which has its own sources of money. We have the opportunity then to be able to work together and make best use of that, our money and the POA money. We have talked about, there's some things that we would want to reach out to the POA in the present circumstances. They said we need to wait until this lawsuit is settled to be able to do that. So, but we're still able to request the meeting room and have had no issues with that. We've asked actually, and I'll report later, for every third Thursday of each month forward, and so that's in place right now. So we'll just work it on a one-by-one basis, and since the board really is one member right now, the POA, then I as mayor would be that primary interface. Now the city, like I said, it does have its own capabilities and responsibilities. We'll have a city government on top of that the POA will be part of or under, at least. They would have to, obey whatever laws and rules that we put on as well. And so we're just going to have to work some of those things, though, one by one. But we'll be working to put things in place that's good for the city. We'll bring our money to do the things that we can do. POA will continue doing what they're doing, and we'll just continue to work that on a case-by-case basis between us and them. Best we can do right now.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Kendra Rosner, yes, you had a question.
Thank you for serving. It's a quick question. What can the residents of Diamond Head do to help you get your feet on the ground, to help you get started? That's my question.
Good question.
That is a good one, and what we have done, we've had a number of cases where we have people that we've already been talking about things that have agreed to volunteer. We have two people, David Vilches and Gary Borgeson, who are IT people, one more focused in the software, the other hardware, which is good. They've been working together and meeting with us to look at the things that we're going to need to do for electronic infrastructure for us, including websites and emails and all kinds of stuff. So that kind of thing is going on. We've also been talking about, we haven't identified a lot yet, but looking at things we can go after grants on. And there's a number of people in Diamond Head who have experience writing grants, and so already talked to a couple of them about assisting us there. So that is some things going on. Some of the other things, there may be things that we will be able to use, but honestly, right now we're at such a beginning, we're still trying to define and lay some things out, but there'll probably be some things that we can get some help on, and then we'll reach out via whatever opportunities we have, probably mostly right now the Facebook pages, until we get the website stood up. But we'll be looking for help on things as we can define them. Right now, it'd be hard to put out a list and say we're looking for volunteers, but we can't specifically say what that might be. And so, but that's kind of what we're thinking right now in terms of how to do that. So it's going to be as we define it more than anything. Okay. Let me, Chris Potts had a couple that she let me know, though, she wasn't going to be able to be here. So I'm going to read her questions and respond to them best I can. So, are there term limits for officers and our offices, and what is the plan going forward for subsequent elections? Well, the state has laws that define when the municipality elections are, and there's a certain time frame that's set for the mayor and a certain time frame that's set for the city councils, so that they overlap, so that they're not all at the same time. And so for that reason, the city council members that got elected this time have full 4-year periods, and including your recorder treasurer. The mayor is, right now I'm elected on a 2-year position, but that's because the next time it would come up, it'll then be a 4-year. So it just has to depend on when it starts. So that is we have to follow the state laws. The elections are already set. We just have to get on the ballot. And so we'll work that as the time approaches for the next elections, but that's the way the election process works. Okay, and the other one she had is, who is designated in charge if the mayor is unavailable for some reason? Well, that's also defined in a sense. It's defined in that the city has to decide that, and we have to produce an ordinance that then states that. Well, there's other priorities, and right now that one's a little bit on the back burner. We know we got to do that, but there's other things we want to get in place first, and so probably in the January meeting we'll have an ordinance then to address that, and then it'll go on. Typically, what's done is that the recorder treasurer then takes over when the mayor is sick or out of town or whatever situation it might be, and then when he's back available, then it comes back under him then. So that's the way that'll work. Right now, I guess if something happened until we get that ordinance in place, we probably just have to cancel whatever the meeting was or whatever until I was available to make it official. Okay. So that's all the questions that we got. So the next part of the agenda is reports, and for standing committees there is none right now, so that's not anything in there. Let me go ahead and sit here. The only special committee right now we have is due to the resolution we passed last time for the annexation, to have a committee in place to look at that. And then we named Minnie Prince to lead that, and she's already off and looking at that. She didn't have any. It's been a week, so she really don't have anything new to report. But I would say that we've been talking to the Municipal League about that, and they've documented guidance for us and are ready to answer questions or work with us as we're proceeding there. There also is a 2020 booklet on annexation procedures that from the Arkansas County Organization that Benny already had, and those are pretty complimentary. And the other thing then, the Municipal League actually provided is the actual state statute to follow for annexation procedures. So she's already been reading that, and it's not a difficult process. It's just sort of things we have to go through. We'll have to produce an ordinance. The resolution was to set up the committee and start the process. We'll have to have an ordinance for annexation, and that we probably will do in January as well. If you remember last time, the ordinances, the law is that they have to be read 3 times, 3 different meetings, but you can suspend the rules and then only read 1 time. With the annexation ordinance, you cannot do that. So we will have to read 3 times, 3 consecutive meetings, but we can be working, I think, in parallel the things we have to get done, so we don't have to wait on those 3 meetings. They're readings. They're just part of the process. And so anyway, all that is just starting, but I think it will be moving along, and we'll keep you informed as that happens. Also, we'll tell you that part of that process is that both sides have to vote on it, meaning the Hot Springs County side and the Garland County side. Residents will vote on that. So that'll be on the ballot in the next regular meeting, and I think the next opportunity for that is May, I think is right. So we're trying to work toward that. Okay, the unfinished business. One of the things we want to do is that I want to bring up is we've been investigating for a city attorney. We passed the ordinance last time to appoint a city attorney, and so what I want to do this time is look for a motion to appoint Greg Vardaman of Arkadelphia as our city attorney. Like I said, we talked to him and some others. He has been a district and a circuit judge. He's currently the city attorney for Rockport and Gurdon, and I've talked to both of them, and they're very happy with the response that they give with him in a working organization. So, and he seemed to be excited about starting with the city in the beginning, because he said a lot of times he has to come into a city that's already set up and there's issues and problems and the way it was done, and he has to deal with that. So, so anyway, so I would look for a motion to appoint Craig Vardaman as our city attorney.
Motion to
approve Ed Barman as our city attorney.
second.
Okay, any discussion or question? Okay, and last time I asked for.
We do have a question.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, yes.
Yes, I have a question. So the funding for the attorney and hopefully police and fire.
Yep.
Where's that funding gonna come from? Is it gonna come from the state?
I tell you what, I'm gonna hit that a little later. So if you just hold that question till then, I'll get a little of that, yeah. Anyway, last time I asked for a motion for the vote, and I read back through the procedures, and I do not have to do that. I can, when there's no other discussion, I can just call for a vote. So if there's no other discussion, okay, so I'll call for a vote. If everybody that approves of that motion, if you'll raise your hand. Okay, any opposed? Okay.
And Ralph informed me that I am not allowed to vote, so
Yeah. Recorder
don't
treasurer-
feel that I'm being disinterested here.
It's the city council that votes. We didn't do that quite right last time, but we're learning our way through this. So, but anyway, okay. So that passed. So I will make the contact with Greg and get that started then. Okay, I want to report on the progress of fulfilling some of the resolutions we passed last meeting. We were trying to get some things in order so that we could be ready to drop some things when we got started off. And it's been a week, but I want to go ahead and run through a few things just so you know. And I think I may have mentioned this last time because we had just at that time made an agreement to move forward with the office of the Diamond Head Realty for an office at the Diamond Head Realty. And it does not require a contract, only on a month-to-month basis, so we do not have to come back and get a contract approved. And so we've got some stuff in the room now, but and we don't have office hours set up or that kind of stuff yet, but we're trying to get things in there to make it a usable office. And we will do those things and let people know, but that we do have an office now at Diamond Head Realty, which is at the corner of 290 and 171. And as a matter of fact, if you haven't looked at the maps, that corner is the corner of the city of Diamond Head. So I didn't realize it went down that far, but it's right there in that area. The other was to get our turnback money. And talking to the treasurer's office, we had to have a certified population from the Census Bureau. And to get that, we had to have a resolution from the city council, which we got last time. So as soon as we got that, I contacted them. They had sent me a form to fill out, and I took from the GIS information that we had, the information they needed to be able to go look at. So I forwarded all that to them after about a week, been almost, because I just contacted them again yesterday. Hadn't heard anything. And so I contacted them again, and they said, well, they were, as soon as they got payment, they'd do the job. And so they sent me directions for making a payment. I tried to email them and call them again today. Have not gotten any response yet, but I tried to put in the information that they gave me, and it said it was invalid. And also, I told them, I said, we don't have a bill. We don't know how much. I thought it would be in the information they sent. It's not. So anyway, it's typical stuff, but we're working it, and as soon as we get that, that's the only thing we're requiring, and then we'll be able to go back to the state treasurer's office and start getting our turnback money then. So that's good. That's going on. We opened an account at the Sentinel Record for publication of notices. The ordinances have to be published, so it's a law. You have to do that or have 5 bulletin boards to post it on around the city. We don't have that set up yet, so we're using the Sentinel Record right now as our paper. And so that's set up though, and so that we put forward the ordinances that we passed last time to be published, so they'll be coming out
Sunday.
okay. I think I mentioned before, we've reserved the banquet room for every 3rd Thursday of each month at 7 o'clock. That's when we'll have our standard monthly meetings set for, so that we'll still put notices out, but everybody will, get used to the fact or write on their calendars that that's when it is. We also opened 2 accounts at Arvest Bank, and right now John and I are signatories on that and have to have 2 signatures on each check that's used. One is a street account, which will get a turn back money just for streets, and it can only be used on the streets. And then we have a general fund account that can be used for anything, and we had to keep those separate, so there was 2 accounts set up to do that. And talking to the guys I mentioned earlier that's helping with the IT, we had purchased the Wix software, which is the one Holiday Island had suggested to us, and we researched and is good. So we've got an initial website formulated. It needs some fleshing out before we can open it to the public though. So we're trying to work that, and hopefully soon we'll have something, and that's probably something we'll be modifying as we go though to make it more user friendly and looking well. We've applied for the city domain so that we have City of Diamond Head as a domain on our website and for our emails and that sort of stuff. So exactly how long it takes to get that after that applying, I don't know, but we've done our part, so we'll be watching for that. They're also working to set up a email account so that we can have email separately, because we want to keep it just on the city and not on our personal stuff. So we're working the web page and the email addresses. Let's see, and I already mentioned, but the ordinances that we had last time was the one on the liquor by the drink, to keep things the way they are, and the other was on appointing the city attorney. We had to have the ordinance agreeing that we could appoint a city attorney, and then tonight we actually did the appointment. So that's done. The other thing I wanted to report on is just to let you know, being a new city now, a lot of people don't even know that. I mean, I talk to offices in the Garland County Courthouse and say we're a city, and it's like, what? I hadn't heard this. And so anyway, I've had to talk to the tax office, the collector's office, tax collector's office, the assessor's office, anyway, lots of different stuff. But anyway, long story short, I felt that there was organizations that we would interface with and needed to be able to talk with them to introduce the fact that we are a city and that we want to look and see how we can best work together and maybe help out how they're serving us, or see what we can do to help the overall. So I've got some others on the calendar, but the ones I have met with, and not in any particular order, just however it worked out, but I did meet with the Lake Hamilton Fire Department. Doug Davies, the fire chief, and Chip Shortreed is the recruitment and training. And so what I wanted to understand, let them know that we're now officially a city, understand what challenges they have, what things we might be able to do to work together and make things better. And what I learned, some things, they have all the equipment right now that they really need. They've got the money for training. They said, what they said they do not have is people, and especially in Diamond Head. We have 1 responder in all of Diamond Head. And so we need people that could be, medical first responders. And I know we got a lot of retired nurses and stuff that would be pretty easy, I believe, if they were willing to do that. And so, of course, they got the 911 system set up where they get the calls and then they can get the word out to people and get somebody there quickly. They've got, I didn't know this either, but when you go out to the main gate, if you turn left going to the park, just down there on the left is a big maintenance building. Well, that's their maintenance building that they use. And they work on their equipment and everything there. They've got 2 fire trucks there that they maintain and ready to go all the time. They don't have people. And so I think what we want to do is this is just a, we haven't even talked about this among ourselves, but I think we'll want to set up a plan after the first year sometime to kind of get the word out about what the needs are, and that we'd be looking for volunteer firemen and volunteer first responders. The fire chief and the training officer I mentioned there willing to come here and talk about what's required, how it would operate, how it would work. And we've got one now. I could see where just having 5 or 6 more would be a huge difference. You could have a crew that could operate a truck, even. So anyway, that's the first thing on the plan. The other thing I mentioned is I thought that probably people out here were more interested in ambulance quick time as opposed to fire trucks. And he said that they have been working for a long time to get an ambulance out coexistent with their fire department, which is just down on 290. And but the service that they have in Hot Springs does not want to expand that way. And so now we have a response time of 30, 40 minutes, whatever it is. But he said they have been working to get a secondary service that is willing to do that, and that if they get one out there, then the response time would be about 12 minutes to here. So I told him that we would be willing to do whatever we could do, that maybe being a city now, maybe a letter from the city would be helpful. If they needed people to respond, saying this is something that as a community we desire. We don't want to overrun things, but I just let them know anything that we could do to help. And we're going to stay closely in touch with that because if they can make that happen, and if we could help make that happen, I think that's something that'd be good for the community. So anyway, we'll plan something later after the first of the year in terms of how to get with them about helping with the fire department. Another thing, I met with Officer Zahner, who manages the Garland County Animal Services. They handle Hot Springs and unincorporated parts of the county. I think, we've seen a lot of, at least, looking at Facebook and stuff, very often see people talking about stray dogs and dogs into trash and people jogging and stuff and seeing an aggressive animal that they don't feel comfortable about. I don't think there's been any attacks that I know of, but it's the sort of thing which I think we as a city should be able to manage. And one possibility, since they're already in place, it'd be possible to plan a cooperative effort with them via contract so that we would contract for their services. A lot of things have to be determined. To me, we got a lot of the things first. That's not the highest priority, but I think it is something we need to address. So we'll be looking into that later in the year about what options we have and what the city would want to do. One of the things we'd have to do is have a ordinance written in for animal control and a means for enforcement by the animal services. So we have to figure out what that looks like and how to plan for that. And so anyway, it was just a good first discussion, and so they know where our interests are. We understand what we have to do, take next steps with them. So I also met with Jack Plumley of the Riviera, which, I don't know if you know, but the official title or name is Lake Catherine Waterworks and Sewer Facilities Board of Garland County. The Riviera is what it used to be, but they still use that name just because everybody's familiar with it. So I'd always really didn't know. I thought they were a private enterprise that was set up to manage the water and sewer out here, and it originally was, but it's had its ups and downs, and then was really bought out with a bond, and now it's a nonprofit organization under the county judge and the quorum court. So the county really owns it. And so they have a board of 5 members to operate it. They've got, I don't remember how many, several people that actually work for it to get everything done that has to do to support it, all the maintenance and different things. But they provide financials, report to the judge each month. And so anyway, a little different flavor in my mind about, what that might mean. We talked about the fact that it's a nonprofit and it's part of the county, but it's within Diamond Head now as a city. So I think it behooves us to look for opportunities. I don't know what they might be or what, but it might be opportunities for grants for water and sewer systems, and maybe there's some way we can help and work that. So don't know exactly what that might be, but something that we'll be keeping our eyes and ears out for anyway. Okay, that's all those that I have right now. On the new business, we have a resolution on travel policy. And, we're going to have the annexation committee is going to be running around, having to go up to the courthouse. We often have to go up to the courthouse. There's different things we have to go do. So most of this will be just card or travel reimbursement. We may have to go to Little Rock at times. But there's also, we wrote it broad so that it covers any other travel we may have to do. One of the things we're looking at is that the Municipal League Winter Conference is coming up in January, and they have 2 half days and 1 full day. And a lot of that is getting together and meeting people. They have speakers from the state on issues that's going on, but they also have a number of breakout sessions of training, and they have sessions on grants, and they have sessions on state requirements for financial reporting, and lots of different things that us as novices will need. So there's several of us going to go up to that. So having this in place then will allow us to cover the mileage for that. So with that in mind, and everybody has got that and seen it, so I would look for a motion to accept the resolution 2024-019 as our travel policy and travel reimbursement form.
Move to approve the travel policy. A
Second.
Okay. Any questions or discussions on it? Okay, if not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, unanimously approved. So. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mention, and Melanie, I may catch you short because I didn't tell you I was going to mention it, so I thought since we're talking about strategic planning, it might be good to just go ahead and get it out there, and we're going to be planning toward that. We're trying to understand what things we can do, what our priorities should be, what our long-range thinking ought to be about moving toward in a city. And so one of the things we were looking at doing was having a strategic planning meeting for the city, and one of the things we'll want to be able to do is look at that methodically. We've got some people in Diamond Head who have led those kind of studies before, and so we're going to draw on them to help do that. Part of the things we want to be able to do is get a survey or something that gets inputs from the people out here about things that they're interested in and priorities they think we ought to have, and then try to look and see what kind of a plan that we can lay out. And of course, a plan is a plan. It's not binding, but it does give you guidance and forward thinking about what you might want to do. So I've asked Melanie to lead that, and so she's going to be working with the rest of the council and people who may help us with that in developing a process of how we want to get the survey information, how we want to get together and have a facilitator actually guide us through that. So anything else you want to say on that?
No.
That's good. All right. I also have to provide a budget to the city council. Officially, I was supposed to do that this month. Just getting started makes it a little difficult. But I'm planning to work on that as we're defining things. And honest to goodness, the first one will be a WAG. Everybody knows what that is. And but we'll take a best look at what the income might be. We'll take a best guess of things we're going to want to do and do the best we can. It can be modified and changed. It's just that we have to turn a budget in to the state by February 1. So however it looks, we've got to have one. So I'll be working on that. I'll get it to these guys, and then we will pass that as one of the resolutions that we pass in January. So, okay, we also have, and let me just take another opportunity here to say thanks to, I know Benny's not here, Byron's here. You know, the incorporation group worked tirelessly for 2 years plus to make this happen. And I'm sure it's a little strange to them after all that time to see it actually in place and starting to go on. But they also, of course, a lot of people in the community gave money to help do the things they need to do to take the actions to get it in place. And you know, they had lawyers' fees, different things. But there was some money left over. And so they have provided that then to the city as seed money to be able to get started, because obviously we're not getting any money yet. We've got things to do. So we're very happy to have that. And so the quantity is $2,875, and they've already given that to our treasurer. And so right now I would look for ask for a motion to accept the funds from the incorporation committee to the city in the amount of $2,875.
Motion to accept the funds.
Second.
Any discussion? Do I? Yeah, all those opposed, opposed. All those in favor, raise your right hand. We're not gonna turn down any money. Okay, passed unanimously. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is scheduling. The only thing I've said a couple times already is just to remember now that officially our third Thursday of each month at 7 p.m. is our standard monthly meeting time. There are no special meetings planned at this time and no workshops planned. Any announcements from anybody that I've missed? Okay, that finishes our agenda, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carried. We are adjourned.
Who made the motion? Was it Patty or was it Melanie?
Good job.
Patty?
Patty? That's okay.
Their voices sound.
Yeah, and they're far enough away, I can't pick them out. Boy, I hope this recorded everything.